Hey guys, it is your girl Shayla, aka Infinity Bay, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we have a different setting. We are not in a car. We do not have our trusty steering wheel with us. We are in my home. So welcome to the environment, and I invite positive energy into this safe space here. So today I want to deliver a message to you guys. But first I want to start off by saying if you like my content, like the messages I push out, please hit that subscribe button and like my content so that other people can see it and get these messages, and let's all do some healing. So today I'm coming to you guys with a message that I heard the other day from God, Spirit Himself, itself. I don't want to say Him, Spirit itself, from the source. I heard a message that I wanted to share with you guys. So for a while, I have always struggled with when things happen in my life, I want to say major things happen in my life, and that makes me sad or makes me upset. I handle things, I'm a very emotional individual. I handle things with a lot of emotions and a lot of feelings in a healthy way now, but I tend to, I cry and I feel through that stuff. And a lot of the times, I just recently experienced something which I will get into. But a lot of the times when I have these experiences, I tend to shame myself for the way I handle things, the way I feel, the way I express myself, how I have to talk to things, how I have to cry through them, and how I have to feel through these things. And one day when I was in that mode, I was cleaning up my house, I was in my emotions, I was in my feelings about something. I heard Source, God, Spirit say to me, as clear as day, stop shaming yourself for who I created you to be. I created you to be this way for a reason. So right in that moment, I began to just give thanks and pray, and started to write down in my book, in my notebook, to share this message with you guys, to stop shaming yourself for who God intended you to be. If you are doing things in a healthy way, I'm not emotionally lashing out at people. I'm not, and that stuff that I did used to do once upon a time until I did the work and did some healing. But a lot of times I would just shame myself, and I think it comes too from people saying things like, you're so emotional, you know, me being a crybaby and all of this stuff, and it put a negative, stigma or negative attachment, just having a negative, thought process and how I felt subconsciously about being that way and stuff, based off how other people will also judge me for it, made me judge myself a lot and punish myself a lot when I was emotional, when I did handle things in a certain way. But like I said, I was having a moment and I heard God speak to me as clear as day and said, stop shaming yourself for who you chose to come back here to be and who I created you to be. You are empathetic for a reason. You are emotional for a reason. And I am a firm believer in my reasoning with a lot of things here on earth, a lot of things I experience, a lot of things that I feel, and a lot of things I go through is solely to be able to help the next person be okay with themselves, and to learn how to navigate through these things themselves and not shame themselves at all. I'm a quick learner. So when I feel through those things and I allow myself to be in those moments, I get a lot of messages. I get a lot of confirmation. And that brings me to what I also, I got my notebook out and began to jot down these things about what I was hearing being spoken to me. Now, mind you, I am in the midst of crying and feeling my ways when I am jotting down and I'm listening to messages that was given to me. But that's the thing. When I am in that emotional mode and I'm feeling my feelings, and I'm feeling what what was confirmed to me, that's when things get to moving the most. That's when things get clearer to me. That's when God and my ancestors and my higher self speak to me the loudest, is when I'm in that mode, when they get my rawness, when it's just me and I'm laying it all down and I'm surrendering to it and I'm trying to understand, is when I hear the messages the loudest and the clearest. So that's why it struck me, and it means so much to me now when God said, stop shaming yourself, because this is how he connects with me. I'm sorry for saying he again. This is how God connects with me, through me, and to me, is when I'm in that raw moment of Deshayla, when I'm crying, when I'm trying to make it make sense, when I'm letting my guard down, is when I get my messages the clearest. That's when my ancestors love to talk to me. My ancestors don't like when I come to them all phony. They like when I'm raw, when I'm angry, when I'm using my gift. My gift is my emotions. My gifts are my words. That's when I connect the most. I began to understand in that moment of, want to be shameful, feeling shame for, I'm sorry if y'all hear my dishwasher. I hope it is not too loud over this video. But I am that person, one of the people, because there's many people out here like this too, and I know they can relate to that, but we experience certain things and we understand certain things because it's some people out here who still trying to learn how to navigate through that stuff. So we can relate to you when you feel sad. We can relate to you when you feel abandoned. We can help you get through that stuff. Had I not understand how to feel through myself, feel through those emotions, I wouldn't be able to do that. And that is the call of one of my purposes here on earth, is to be able to do that, is to be able to connect to people in that way. So I want to tell y'all a story one day about something I experienced one day. So I was getting prepared this is when I made the decision to walk away from my recent job. And I was feeling guilty, even though I know on the inside, I know I have a pretty good relationship with the universe and with spirit and my ancestors. I don't want to say I do know how this thing works when it comes to me and my ancestors and the whole walk of my life from this point. I would say I got a feel for it. I know when it's time to go with things. I try to be obedient. I listen, and I keep moving. When it's time for me to part ways, it's time for me to go from something. So I put in my notice at the job, and the principal, so my boss, never acknowledged up to this moment, never really acknowledged that I put in a notice. Didn't say anything, didn't respond to the email, all of that stuff. So I began to feel those emotions of shame and guilt, because I'm just like, well, maybe I was being too emotional of the reason why I decided to walk away and, just jumping the gun, just doing all this stuff, even though I knew what I was feeling in my inside. And I know, have a clear understanding of how this works for my life, when it comes to moving on from things. So I was beginning to put myself in that space. And then I was parking in a parking lot somewhere in that moment. And I end up just looking up at the windshield, and right there in that moment of me having those thoughts sat a ladybug. And that was all the confirmation that I needed, that don't do this to yourself. You're doing the right thing. You know what you are doing, and you got this. Me being in those emotions and me starting to feel is exactly when my guides, spirit, my ancestors, the universe, and my higher self comes like, hey, we got you. That's the way I communicate. And that is why I no longer will shame myself for feeling the way I feel. My feelings are not hurting anyone. They are something I have to sit with. That is when my spiritual team know to come. All right, she need us. That's my gift. That's the way I share. I'm passionate. When people hear me, sometimes I get mad too, because I'm a very passionate talker. And I feel like people be thinking like I be angry, and it really makes me mad, especially being, a black girl. And we already be having that stigma put on us. And it's like, I'm not even angry. I'm just a passionate person. This is how I communicate. When I care about something, or if I know something, I'm a little bit more, I have a lot, to me. So it's like, even that, understanding not to shame myself for that, because me learning myself and learning things about my path, I'm supposed to be that way. I'm supposed to be the one who walk in and kind of have this, feeling to her that draws a certain attention. So it's interesting because the first, majority of my life, I always kind of like hid and didn't want to be seen and stuff like that. But throughout my healing, ta-da, I'm here. This is me. Try to bring great energy, great, vibrant personality. And that's because that's who I was created to be. And sometimes I feel like, I would shame myself. Like, am I too much? Am I too overbearing? And doing all of that stuff. And once again, God says, stop shaming yourself for that. Because that same energy, the same feeling like that stuff you do that you feel like is overbearing is going to be the same thing that's going to get you to where you need to be. So I no longer want to shame myself for that stuff. Because that is who I intended to come back to earth to be. That is who the Creator, that's who God created me to be. So I just wanted to share this message with those who might go through that whole shaming yourself, making yourself feel bad for feeling your emotions or being emotional. Cry, baby. Let it out. Be who you're supposed to be. Be vibrant. Be, boisterous. Hope I use that right. Be all of those things. Because that is who you were intended to be when you agreed to come back to this earth. And we all be trying to find our purpose. And I made a video about this too, and I'm going to link that video. Finding your purpose is simply being who you are. You are already in that purpose. Love it. Stop shaming yourself for it. Be grateful for it. Give thanks for it. It's immediately what I do when I get an answer for something. I give thanks. Thank you, God. Thank you for sending me that message. Thank you for connecting to me. Thank you for working through me. Give thanks and give gratitude. And I'm wishing you so much acceptance onto your life and on your journey. And until the next video. Bye.